First and foremost, congratulations and happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
So to begin with, we were chatting a little bit before we went on camera. This is your first time in Bermuda and
Yes.
first time running in the marathon.
Yes, the Bermuda Marathon. Yes, it is.
So tell me, how was it?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. Especially the section where we're running along the ocean and we can see the waves crashing, and that was nice. Now, you go around it twice, and the first time around, you really enjoy it. The second time around, you are so tired that that's nice. But the first time around, you're really enjoying the scenery and everything, and the second time, you're just trying to finish.
Now, this is your first time running the marathon here in Bermuda, but
Yes.
certainly not your first marathon race.
Right.
How many was this for you?
This was number 70.
This was number 70,
Yeah.
and it corresponds with your 70th
70th
birthday,
that's
which
correct.
is tomorrow.
Yeah.
How does this race compare to other races you've taken part in then?
Well, it's certainly more scenic than a lot of them, I can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a little hilly, but I don't mind that. And I've had some far worse races, so this one was right up there with the good ones. It really was.
So is it
And
fair
the
to-
people were wonderful, by the way. The race people were so nice, and the local. I mean, we met so many people, and everybody was so pleasant and nice to us. And the crowds along the way cheering for us, and
Yeah.
they were out there both times around. They were still out there waiting the second time around, and yeah, it made it fun.
So will this be on your future race calendar then?
Yes, in fact, we were talking about coming back for my 75th birthday, all of us. So we may be back before then.
Now you said that this was your 70th marathon. When was your first?
I did the Vermont, when I lived in Vermont, I did the Vermont City Marathon when I was 52 years old. So I didn't start marathoning until my kids had grown and left home and I had time. And the first time I did a marathon, I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do it because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I trained in secret and I ran it. And I did not know that when you cross the finish line, they give you medals. When they put the medal around my neck, I started crying because I had done it, you know, and I got a medal. I thought it was the greatest thing. So it was kind of like when I first started doing them, I would do maybe 1 or 2 a year. And then I got in with a group of friends, and we actually travel. We call them racecations. We travel to places. We did one in South Dakota last year, and we just go all over and meet up and have a great time.
Now, off camera you mentioned other locations as well, Barcelona.
Yes.
Any other internationals?
Well, I've done some in Ottawa.
Okay.
And boy, I think that was the only other countries I've done them in. I also do ultras, by the way, and an ultra is anything over 26.2. And I've done 100-mile races. I did a 24-hour endurance run in Ottawa. Yeah, so we're basically crazy runners. So yeah, it's fun.
Now, choosing to do a marathon in your birthday, perhaps not the first thing that everybody thinks of when they're thinking about celebrating their birthday. Why did you want to do this?
Well, my friend, we had met up in the wintertime in New Hampshire and it was cold out, and she said, well, you've got a 70th birthday coming up, what do you want to do? And I had always seen this one on the calendar and had never done it before. And I said, well, I want to go to Bermuda and do the marathon. So I made sure I had enough marathons. I had to do like 5 this year in order to have this one be my 70th. So I did a bunch of them this year so that this is my 70th.
You mentioned qualifying for Boston.
Yes.
Is that kind of the next big thing race-wise for you?
Unfortunately, I don't think, I really wanted to qualify for Boston again. I qualified when I turned 60 because every 5 years, your time gets longer that you have to qualify. So when I was turning 60, I started training really, really hard, and I qualified, and I was like so thrilled. But now I've slowed down enough that it would take a miracle for me to qualify again, but I've done it. So, in fact, this is my Boston shirt. Yes, and that's the pinnacle of races. Everybody wants to do Boston, and to qualify is just, yeah, it's a great thing.
Now, the medal that you're wearing,
Yes.
very lovely.
Thank you.
Is that for winning your division?
Oh, no. Every finisher gets a medal. I think, I was looking online and I think I might have been the third in my age category because the age categories for this race were 60 to 69 and I didn't fit into the 70 because I don't turn 70 till tomorrow. If I had already been 70, I would have been the first in my age category. But yeah, and most marathons I've gone to are 5-year, 60 to 65, 69 to 65 to 70. And that's why I have won prizes for being first, second, or third. But yeah.
Now, hearing you say that you're not even sure what position you finished in.
Yeah, I haven't looked online yet.
It suggests to me that it's not really about how you finish.
Oh, it's finishing.
Yeah.
It's definitely, because I know that I was the last one to come in yesterday, but I don't care. I finished. That's the whole goal of starting a.
Now you mentioned
race.
that you hadn't even started running marathons until you were 52.
Yeah.
And kind of backing on what you just said there about it being about finishing.
Yes.
I'm curious, what advice would you give to someone who is, considered taking part in a marathon or race of some length?
Yeah, even starting to run.
Yeah.
I think the first time I got to the end of my driveway, and then each time I went out, I ran a little bit farther. And I found for me that if I could get up to 6 miles, then I could pretty much go as far as I wanted to go. And I'm not a person who trains for a marathon. I run all the time. So I always say that, maybe not today, but I always say if somebody said, oh, let's do a marathon this weekend, I could do it. Because I run but every day that I can, I will do maybe 10 miles or so. So I'm always in shape. If you train for a marathon and then you say I did it, and then you quit running, it's like you lose all that. And why go to all that training and then just stop running? I don't understand it because we love to run. Yeah.
And to that person who's thought for a while that this is something maybe they want to do, to take up running, to try and, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, age is you shouldn't even think you're too old for it. Age is no barrier. We have friends who are in their 80s that are still running. So age should not be a factor. Basically, I never really went through like a coach and training, but there are a lot of programs that you can go through, and they'll give you guides as to how many miles you should do every day to build up to a race. A lot of people do that, and that works for them. For me, I never went through that. I just kept running and trying to run farther, and like you need to get up before you actually do a marathon, you need to get your mileage up. But of course, you should probably start with 5Ks and 10Ks and then half marathons. And I used to run before I did my first marathon. I did run in shorter races, and I did run every day. And I actually trained for a marathon once years ago, before I started marathoning, and had an injury from playing tennis. And I stopped playing tennis because it interfered with my running. But I think you need to find what works for you. Everybody needs to find what works for them, and this is what worked for me, just to get out and run.
I think running's often thought of as a very individual pursuit or whatnot, but as we've seen, you have several friends here with you.
Absolutely.
You've mentioned the social aspect of it.
We have friends for life, and we don't we live all over, but we see each other because we pick out a race and we go. And yes, it's very, and even what we found, like even yesterday, this race, we met people at the 1 mile on Friday night, at the 5K, 10K on Saturday, and then at the marathon. And some really nice people from all over. And it's almost like you have something in common, and you talk about what race you've done and where you're from. And even some of the natives here have been so nice to us. We met a man who gave us a ride back from the marathon yesterday in his car, and he was so nice to us. It was just, So I always say there's a lot of good people out there that are runners, and it makes for getting to know people from all over.
If you had to boil down what is the greatest single pleasure you take from running, what would it be?
Oh, the way it makes you feel. I even if I'm not feeling well, if I get out and run, I feel great afterwards. It really does. I've also, when I do long runs, I find with my mind clear, I can come up with all kinds of ideas that solve problems. When I used to work for the insurance company, there would be a problem at work, and I'd just go out and do a run, and all of a sudden, a solution would pop in my head.
So
Yeah.
physical and mental.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There's days that I don't get to run, and I find that I'm not feeling that great. But if I can get out and at least do a mile or two, the day is much better. It's clears your head. It gives you more energy. I have more energy. I'm a flight attendant, and I work with a lot of young people, and I have far more energy than they do because I get my runs in.